Kurt Berry here, Stillwater Financial, working alongside 10X Prosperity. Today, we wanted to talk about some strategies of being a debtor, a saver, or a wealth creator. Very distinct things. We want to talk about how they work, specifically because when we buy things, we finance everything that we buy. So you can see on the screen, we finance everything we buy. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to show you some examples. So let's get into talking about how to become a wealth creator instead of what most everybody else is doing, being a debtor or a saver. So let's begin with the process of talking about being a debtor. So imagine somebody's just getting out of school and they're starting the first job. They don't have any assets yet, but they are starting to work and start saving some money. So they have a net worth of zero. So we can see our zero line on the page. Well, if we need to buy a car instead of riding the bus to get to work, we're going to have to go into debt, borrow somebody else's money since we don't have any saved money in order to do that. So we're going to start out by borrowing money from someone else's bank, and we're going to now be in debt. We're now below the line. We're negative net worth area. But we're going to work really hard to start making payments that they require us to make. So we're going to pay some back, pay some back, and pay some back. Eventually, we get back down to zero. We've paid off the loan to the other bank, and we've got the car that we own. The problem is the car is now 4 or 5 years old, and it's probably getting close to where we may need to trade it in and do something different. So what do you do now? Well, you haven't really built any assets yet because you were busy paying someone else payments. Along with all of the interest, you were paying the interest to somebody else in order to have the car. And now we're going to have to do that again. So what happens is we borrow again and work on paying back. And in the meantime, we're paying someone else interest. So everything that we buy, we finance. We finance everything we buy. So in this case, by being a debtor, by borrowing money, we're paying interest to someone else. We're paying interest and not accruing interest. And once we have our second car and we pay it back, and the same process just keeps happening over and over and over, right? We're constantly borrowing, constantly paying interest to someone else, constantly paying interest to someone else's bank. We never really build any wealth. Now, so let's talk about being a saver, because this is what most of the gurus tell us we should be doing. We should save money, because that's how you become wealthy. Well, let's test that idea. Obviously, the first thing you have to do is you do have to ride the bus for a while or get rides from somebody because you don't have a car and you don't have any money to buy one. And since you're not going to go into debt for it, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to save up. So you're going to start saving. You finally get enough money to buy the car. And what do? Well, then you're now going to spend down all the money you saved and give it to somebody else's bank. Oh, very interesting. And all the time while you were working at saving this money, you were earning a little bit of interest on it. And that interest, as soon as you spend it down to zero again, that interest you could have continued to earn over your lifetime is now gone forever. That opportunity is now gone. So by paying cash, you give up the ability to earn interest for yourself. So there is still an interest cost by paying cash. You're either paying interest to somebody else's bank, or you're giving up the ability to earn interest on your own dollars by paying cash, right? And now, as soon as you get the car, that's wonderful, except once again, you're going to have to start saving because your car is not going to last forever. So you're going to have to start saving so that you have enough money to buy the next car when it's ready to happen. And you're going to continue to do that over. And every time you spend your dollars back down to zero, you kill the compounding that could have been happening for the rest of your life. So we're going to save and spend and save and spend and save and spend. And so you can see that a saver, although they're on the positive side of the net worth line, never really builds any massive wealth. So it sounds good in theory, but we're still giving up interest or paying interest, still an interest cost to us in the process. So let's talk about what it means to be a wealth creator. What does that look like? Well, a wealth creator is somebody who has to start out by saving money, just like a saver does. You have to start saving because we haven't gone into debt. We're start saving. But once we start saving money into a special tool, and that tool is called whole life insurance, when you start saving money into whole life insurance, that money is going to stay in that account for the rest of your life. So it's going to keep growing and growing and growing for as long as you live. It will never stop growing. Now, how do you then access the money that is in your policy? Well, actually, you never do. What we do is we say, hey, this is an asset that you own that's going to continue to grow for the rest of your life. We can go to the insurance company, though, and say, hello, insurance company, we would like to borrow from you based on the amount of money we've saved in our account. We're going to use this money, as a fancy word called collateral. We're going to use this money as kind of the asset that protects or gives us the ability to use someone else's money. If we don't pay them back, they can come take this money from us. So we want to pay them back, but in the meantime, our money continues to stay in our account to keep growing. So that's what we do then, is we can go to the insurance company and we can borrow from their reserves because our money stays in here and is continuing to grow. We borrow and then we work on paying the insurance company back. And once we've paid them back, it's as if we never borrowed the money in the beginning, because our cash value of our policy, our savings, is still growing. It's been growing the entire time. It never stopped growing, even while we had borrowed some of the insurance company's money, because our money never stops growing. And as soon as we pay back some of the money to the insurance company, we can turn around and reuse it again. We can use it over and over and over again. But we'll just say that we waited until we paid off the loan to the insurance company, paid off the car loan. We could then turn around and borrow again. So we can borrow and pay back, pay back, pay back. And once we paid it back, it's as if we'd never borrowed the money. And we could continue to do that over your entire lifetime. Now, notice, though, that you are actually building wealth. You're creating wealth over time. Now, this is not a great picture of compound interest, but it was a simple one I could draw on here. And it actually would grow faster, quicker, but it does take time. But you can get the idea that we're creating wealth, and the wealth continues to grow for the rest of your life, even though we have the ability to borrow against it from the insurance company and use it to buy the car or the homes or the vacations or the things you want to buy anyway. But you now have the ability to continue to grow your wealth while you're buying the things you would have bought, whether you were borrowing from someone else's bank or paying cash and losing the ability to earn all this wealth that you could have had. So that's the idea of being a wealth creator instead of a debtor or a saver. So remember, we finance everything that we buy. We either pay interest to someone else's bank, or we give up the ability to earn interest for ourselves. By being a wealth creator, we get to take advantage of both of those. So choose to become a wealth creator today. If you'd like to know more, reach out to us. We'd love to sit down and chat with you and show you more of how this works. Thanks for your time and enjoy your day.